Hey guys, so we're here at Armageddon Expo in Auckland. You can see the Nintendo booth behind us. I just came off playing Pokémon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I played the Eevee version. We were given a quick 10-minute demo. You were in the Viridian Forest. You were just exploring that area. We weren't allowed out. We got a little bit of catching wild Pokemon. We got some battles with the Pokemon as well. So my starter Pokemon Eevee had a move called Sizzly Slide. It was a fire-type move. I don't know if they gave us that specifically because it's going to be useful in the Viridian Forest to take out the bug Pokemon. It made it quite handy. If you've seen in the gameplay footage before, there is the Pokemon running around wild in the overworld. That is a bit of a different mechanic. It means you're not running up and down the tall grass, which is, I feel, a little bit better. But it did mean that there were times where I was just trying to move around and run through and I was being stopped by a wild Pokemon, which is very similar to the original games where you were just trying to sprint through as quick as possible. So that still remains true to the game. The battles, in terms of a trainer battle, was pretty much the same as the original game. You had your Pokemon, you had your bag, you could fight. You had 4 moves, just like the normal games. Everything seemed to roll as normal, and there was nothing too crazy. The capture is much more like Pokemon Go. You have to flick the ball onto it to capture it. You can give it a berry, but there's no attacking it to lower its HP to make it a little bit easier. So berries are the only way that we can switch up how easy it is to catch a Pokemon. We played with the new peripheral, the Plus ball. It was good. There was some really good haptics in it. It would vibrate at pretty much every action, like your phone would be if you were playing Pokemon Go. So every time a Pokeball wiggled, you could put it up to your ear and you could listen to the Pokemon's cry once you'd caught it. It was a little bit harder in the crowded convention, but you could still hear it there. The haptics would also, you've engaged in a Pokemon battle or you've engaged in a trainer battle, vibrating there. I just like the haptics in my hand. I have big hands. I thought the ball was a little small for my hand. There was also a ring you were meant to put on a finger to make it easier to hold. I had put it on my ring finger because that's what I was instructed. A little bit squishy, a little bit hard to hold, but I'm sure with a bit of practice and getting used to it, it'll be fine. To capture the Pokemon with the ball, you had to use motion control, throw the ball, feel like a Pokemon trainer, and then you'd capture. Be as simple as that. Using the Pokeball with the little joystick, changing directions I found was a little sluggish. You'd be moving left and you'd move right, and there'd be that sort of delay before you'd quickly change direction. That got to be a little bit annoying, but you got used to it in the 10-minute play session, so it wasn't too crazy. Much like Pokemon Go, you also got XP on a capture, so it's a little bit different, I guess, to regular Pokemon. This seems to be very much a hybrid. You're obviously in the Kanto region, but it's got a little bit of the Pokemon Go stuff to it as well. When you win a trainer battle, every single Pokemon in your party get XP. Your partner Pokemon gets XP, the Pokemon that's in the battle gets XP, and then the rest of the party also gets some XP. When you catch too many Pokemon, they don't go to a PC like they normally do. It ended up going to a Pokemon bag in my bag where I could just pull them out of as much as I needed. Tell them which one's going to be following me, and you could have the Eevee, in my case, on top of my head, as well as having a Pokemon following me around. I felt that the game as a whole was a little bit of a side game. It didn't feel like a main game, but that also came with the added good factors that it didn't feel like a remake of Fire Red, it didn't feel like a remake of Red. It felt like its own game that just happened to be set in Kanto. It wasn't as alive as I would have liked. The trees and the grass and everything, I feel like there needed to be a little bit more movement in the background. But in general, it was the bright Pokemon game that you'd expect. If you played the latest Switch games, you wouldn't be too surprised by the graphics, by the battles, by everything. Captures a little bit more like Pokemon Go, obviously static background and everything. So also something to note, after the end of a trainer battle, I don't know if it was just for this demo or if it will be in the game, I was winning Pokeballs, so that I could use those for my captures. I don't know if there will be an item store or anything like that in the official release. We'll have to wait around and see a little bit more details. It looked good on the TV, Obviously, they now know with the Switch how that's going to look, so they're good at their upper-res Pokemon. Level up, stats, everything's the same. I did notice, like Pokemon Go, they had a CP value associated with the Pokemon. I don't know how that plays into it, whether that's an accumulation of the stats. We'll have to wait and find out. There might be a bit more information out by the time this comes out. But yeah, other than that, I found it as a good little side game. I wouldn't count it as a main series game, obviously. That's already been announced to be coming later. But in terms of just a pick up and fun game, I definitely see it being a hit with the kids. Less so the nostalgia trip, I guess. The only thing nostalgia-y about it is Kanto, and inspired by Pokemon Yellow, but I think kids who own a Switch are going to pick it up. They're going to pick up the new peripheral, and they're going to be playing it, and getting the new generation in just before the new Pokemon game comes out. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.